Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's press conference. High Representative Josep Borrel and EUNAVFOR ASPIDES Operation Commander Rear Admiral Vasileios Gryparis will provide you about an update to the activities to restore maritime security and freedom of navigation in the Red Sea, since it's the launch of ASPIDES on the 19th of February. HRVP, you have the floor.
Thank you. It's my great pleasure to be here with you, with the Rear Admiral Gryparis, Operation Commander of this new Navy Operation ASPIDES. You know what does it mean in ancient Greek? This operation was a clear and fast response by the European Union to the deteriorating situation in the Red Sea and on the Gulf of Aden that was having a negative impact on our commercial shippings and regional stability. You know that the Houthis has been attacking with drones and missiles on commercial ships, violating international law and freedom of navigation. On doing so, they threat maritime security, they jeopardize international trade and put regional peace and security at stakes. They create significant damage and cost people's life. They affect negatively the environment, security, and regional economics. This increases cost. The cost of ship goods are affected. Even the population in Yemen are paying the consequences because they are further deprived from life-saving assistance. It increases the cost of food upon the economies in the region, which were already affected by the consequences of the Russia war of aggression against Ukraine. I want to just, before giving the floor to the Operation Commander, illustrate the reasons of this mission with some figures. The Houthis' attacks on the maritime traffic that has to be redirected around the Cape of Good Hope, and you may have a look at that through any Google application. This is 10 to 14 days more of traveling. The cost of a container transported from China to Europe has doubled. It costs twice. And the insurance shipping has increased by 60%. Before the crisis, 13% of world trade transited through the Red Sea. Annually, 13% of the world traffic was passing by these waters. Today, only half of the 70 ships that were passing daily still use the Suez Canal. So it was necessary to intervene, and I am very proud that we were able to launch the Operation ASPIDES only 1 month after the first discussions took place among member states. In 1 month, the operation was launched, has become operational very quickly, and is fulfilling the 3 mandates this mission has: protect ships under attack, accompany vessels, and reinforce maritime security awareness. The Red Admiral will give more operational details, but let me just emphasize that as today, 4 member states have been deploying frigates for the mission, and 19 member states are contributing with personnel in the operational headquarters and the force headquarters. In less than 2 months since the operation was launched, the operation has escorted 68 vessels and has repelled 11 attacks. So it's a mission which has a certain and important level of engagement and risk. But it has a defensive mandate. We are not engaged in any operations against the Houthis on land. Our vessels operate in self-defense and to protect targeted ships. It has to be clearly stated because transparency and openness to regional actors has been our priority since we started preparing this operation. We have exchanged with regional states to discuss and communicate on ASPIDE's mandate, and we will continue doing so. Our mission is actively interacting with other partners engaged in reestablishing safety and security in the region. We cooperate closely with the French-led Operation Agenor. We have regular talks with the US-led Operation Prosperity Guardian. I am very proud also that our two EU maritime operations, ASPIDES and Atalanta, are cooperating closely and sharing the support of the Maritime Security Centre in Brest. To conclude, before giving the floor to the Rear Admiral, this mission is a clear evidence of our will and our capacity to strengthen international security, to protect global public goods, to protect transportation routes, to defend the European Union interests. It's a concrete example of the European Union acting as a maritime security provider. And now, Commander, it's over to you for more detailed information about the concrete actions of ASPIDES.
Thank you. Rear Admiral Gryparis, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. High Representative Borrell. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the Commander of Operation ASPIDES, Rear Admiral Vasileios Gryparis from Hellenic Navy. It is a privilege and, of course, an honor to address to you and inform you about the ongoing EU-NAVFOR Operation ASPIDES. On the 12th February, the Council has nominated me as the Operation Commander, and on the 19th of February, as you are very well known, the operation officially started. The force commander is Rear Admiral Italian Navy Stefano Costantino. He is afloat with his force headquarters on board the ITS Caio Duilio. The initial operation capability of the headquarters has already been declared from the 23rd of February, and this was within the first also week when the operation was launched. Even from the very first day, the very few assets assigned began performing protection duties to support the freedom of navigation and the rights of the global community as derived from the international law and corresponding UN regulations and resolutions. This was a swift defensive reaction to the unlawful attacks conducted against the merchant vessels in the Red Sea, in the Gulf of Aden, and the Arabian Sea. As the High Representative also mentioned, these attacks will have grave consequences not only for the safety of the seafarers, but also for the maritime and regional security, and they threaten the trade via the strategic maritime corridor, hampering the economies of many countries. The area of operation encompasses the Red Sea, the Gulf of Aden, the Arabian Sea, the Sea of Oman, the Gulf, and also the northwest part of the Indian Ocean. As you can understand, the whole landmass is twice as big as the landmass of our 27 member states. For better understanding, just a single transit of one of our ships between the two larger distances in the area might take about 10 days, and also to cross the high-risk area takes almost 2 days. Taking into account the number of the assets in place, the size of the operation, and also the order to provide immediate effects, our priority to focus was the high-risk area, where against the majority of these unlawful attacks took place. Along with our presence in the operational domain, we had also to speed up and build up command and control networks, and also a robust logistical architecture, and then a reliable reach-out and a confidence build-up procedure for the maritime community and the shipping industry. In parallel, we are working with like-minded stakeholders in the area to inform them about our mission, as well as the neighbouring countries. The mission of Operation Aspides, of course, is to contribute to the freedom of navigation, maritime security, and decrease any escalation in the area. So in order to do that, we are accompanying vessels, we are protecting vessels against attacks, including multi-domain attacks, maintaining the defensive mandate that any response will always come as a consequence of an attack and be necessary, proportional, and limited to international sea and airspace. The area has seen multiple attacks in the past months, from intimidation and threats to one-way drones, saturation attempts, complex attacks, including shore, air, and sea-based assets, drones, and ballistic missiles. Aspides is proud to say that so far all protected vessels have been successfully safeguarded throughout these attacks, and that all ships that requested protection have been escorted. Then we have also to build up a thorough maritime situational awareness in the area of operation. In other words, understanding what is happening at sea, and mostly what could impact the security, safety, economy, and the environment in the area. Based on the current Houthi military capabilities, they pose a threat to both moving vessels and static targets. You will also recall their ability to seize ships at sea, as last year's hijack of the car carrier Galaxy Leader on the 19th November of 23, and cause extensive damages, like the sinking of Ruby Mar, and also the hit of True Confidence with 3 fatalities and 4 injuries. The Houthi leadership has claimed responsibility for dozens of attacks, and they have managed to discourage normal maritime traffic, which caused a decline of maritime traffic through the Red Sea by about 50% compared to the equivalent before crisis levels. As the High Representative mentioned, we are cooperating with and coordinating with like-minded actors in the area of operation as follows. Of course, with EU-NAVFOR Operation Atalanta, complementing each other's actions and activities, and with a mission, European Maritime Awareness in the Strait of Hormuz, and specifically its military pillar, which is Operation Aginor. Further, we are coordinating with Operation Prosperity Guardian, since we are operating in a very congested area, and we exchange information in order to avoid fratricide firings and also incoming threats. Aspides has a solid defensive stance there, and any response of Aspides will always come as a consequence of an attack following the principles of necessity and proportionality. Moreover, our operation will not conduct any attack on land. During the 7 weeks of the operation, Aspides has achieved the close protection of 68 vessels, contributing to the freedom of navigation and the restoration of confidence to the shipping industry, and to make them return to the Red Sea and the Suez Canal trading routes. As the High Representative also mentioned, our ships have shot down 9 unmanned aerial vehicles, 1 unmanned surface vessel, and 4 anti-ship ballistic missiles. Of course, for all of this, we have to give the appropriate credit to our crews on board the ships that provide the protection. We are extending our engagement with the maritime industry, and their response is overwhelmingly positive. I am confident that Aspides is making an important contribution to maritime security in the area, and that the operation supports the EU's efforts in protecting global common goods, upholding freedom of navigation, and contributing to the regional peace and security. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And we start with the questions. I see a lot of hand raised. I will start with Irini.
Thank you, Nabila. High Representative, I'd like to ask, are you satisfied with the results delivered till now by this operation, and should we expect more developments, more decisions, action regarding the operation? And Admiral, Greece participates, has a triple role in this operation. And besides, in case the situation worsens, in case there is an escalation from the part of Houthi, is this operation ready to respond with more means, for example? Thank you.
Well, as I said, the operation was launched in a record time. It was a quick answer. And once the mission has been deployed, it has been working in a very satisfactory manner. The figures that the Rear Admiral and myself has been presented to you show how necessary this mission was. And at the same time, the level of engagement that they are having, the number of vessels being protected, the number of attacks that they have repelled. We are not talking about a game. They are rejecting attacks, real fire. They have to shut down missiles who are being addressed against the vessels that they are escorting. And we are very much aware that this is a mission that brings or comes with a level of risk. We have to increase our capacity. Now we have 4 ships and occasional cooperation with others. But the Admiral knows very well that we are trying to work in order to increase the logistic support that the mission needs on land, and also medical capacities just in case. But certainly, until now, the performance is very good. And I thank the Admiral for that.
Yes, thank you for the question. We are constantly looking into everyday's actions, and now we are under a condition where we plan again and we'll try to make better our operational plan. We have estimated about the worsening conditions in the area, and we are dealing with it. So we are reporting to the corresponding EU bodies in order to be aware of what is actually the situation in the operational field, and we have asked specific assets to be in place. So we are dealing also for any possible misfortunate actions that might take place. So then this is a part of my work so far. During my visits in local countries, I have also contacted countries in order to receive the best possible solutions, considering the logistics, medical treatment, and also the member states are willing to contribute to that. So there is also on the 19th of April the global conference for the fourth generation, and I have already addressed to the member states the necessary assets to support the mission and cover any future needs.
Maria.
Hello, from my part, Maria Psara with Euronews. I have 2 questions as well. The first is for the Admiral. You said that the area you are covering is twice. The area you are covering is twice the land of the 27 member states, right?
Yes.
So, can you cover all this area with the vessels you have already? And for the scope, the 3 purposes that High Representative has described. And the second question for both of you, but mainly for High Representative, which is the contribution of the merchant shipping companies to this operation? Because mainly it's done for them, for the merchant, for the industry of.
What's happening with the merchants?
Yes, if they contribute to this operation, and how? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. The area, as I said, is extremely vast. So we have also been ordered to provide immediate effects. And as I've already told you in my introduction, we have focused on the high-risk area. since the number one problem was the attacks in the high-risk area and the reduction of about 50% of the volume of the shipping through the Red Sea. So PSC and the UMC and all the other necessary EU bodies are aware of my intent there, and they agreed so far. And so we are focusing on that area and giving and conducting our operations directly there. So it is very early, though, to jump to any conclusion that if we are achieving anything so far, but we have to be patient and see. But anyway, this is the way ahead. So we have shown, at least with the number of assets that we have, what we can do, and then if we increase the number of assets and our presence, then we might be able in the near future to deploy the assets also to the rest of the area of operation.
As I said, this is a security provider, and we have to balance the cost of action with the cost of non-action. The Council has allocated 8 million euros for the common cost to be borne by member states for the initial one-year mandate of the operation. These 8 million doesn't include national borne cost, like the salaries. But compare this cost with which would be the cost of we do nothing. As I said, the Babel mandate is being crossed for 30% of the global containers and 21% of the global energy transit. Is a vital arteria, is a vital vein for us. We cannot let this part of the world without protection. It is our strategic interest, and we act as a security provider. And the cost for the budget of the European Union, for the budget of our military operations allocated by the Council is the 8 million euros for the first year.
Good morning, sirs. My name is Uwe Mergener. I'm writing for European Security and Defense, a German defense outlet. And my history, I'm a former Navy captain. So my questions are a little bit nasty. First, I want to know if you elude the vast area and you have a high-risk area. So I assume the high-risk area is the Red Sea. Am I correct?
The southern part of Red Sea, yes.
The southern part of Red Sea. How is the tasking done? Is it on request by the merchant vessels, or is it done like, I just want to imagine how is our procedure as a maritime security provider? Or are we going into boxes? And if I come down to then the operation, what are our ideas of sustainability? I know the mandate is now for 1 year. How do we want to go along with it? And what would be, in worst case, our exit strategy?
They know better than I. How do they engage? I can tell you about how long the mission will be. I hope that the shorter possible, but it not depends on me.
So, thank you. You know that we have the Maritime Security Center, Horn of Africa, which is in place for more than 15 years. So the shipping industry is very aware of the procedures followed within there. So there was no necessity for me endorsing a new, let's say, process. So we drive all the shipping industry to use the appropriate site for the Maritime Security Center, and state they're willing to pass from the area. And this has to be done about 72 hours earlier. Then a second request should be made by these companies if they require protection. Then this whole list of the ships is going down according to a criteria list that we have already drafted to the force commander, and according to the forces he has in place, and the time and space, he decides how to protect and give the protection and the escort of all the ships. So far, the requests that we received have all covered. So anybody who seeks our protection has already received it. But if the maritime industry is convinced and they increase the number, that means also for us that it might be the case that we have to increase the assets available in the operational area.
Good morning. I'm Nordin Fridi from Al Arabiya News Channel. I have a question to Mr. Borrell. Is there any political exit from this tense situation in the Red Sea?
Any political what?
Exit.
Any political exit from this crisis in the Red Sea, having in mind, of course, the Houthi argument, etc., and the situation in Gaza. Did you see any kind of political solution to get out of this tense situation? And my question to the Admiral, what is your assessment since you start the mission? Is the situation being still very tense, or because maybe you yourself and other fleets in the area are deterring the Houthis? Do you see the situation still very tense, or it is, let's say, they are less threatening, less threat from the Houthis because they are deterred maybe?
Look, let me clarify that this initiative, this Navy mission, is not meant to be a response to the situation in Gaza, nor to the Israel response to Hamas 7th October attack. We have a strategic objective. It is to protect the life of sailors, to ensure freedom of navigation, and secure international trade. And this mission will be key to protect the maritime sea lines on the strategic corridor on the attack. But it has nothing to do, it's not an answer, it's not related with Iran and the Houthis or the war in Gaza. This is something that certainly worries and concerns us a lot, but we are there in order to protect the ships, the life of the sailors, and our strategic interest.
Thank you. Rear Admiral.
Yes, it's very early to say if our operations there have impacted the Houthis' attacks. Okay, in absolute numbers, let's say we might see a noticeable small reduction, but you have to bear in mind that they have the capability to choose always the time and place. So we are still very vigilant and very focused on what we are doing, and we have to wait and see about the next outcomes while we operate in the area.
I'm Valencia from Europe Diplomatic. I have one question, but with two aspects, one political and the other operational, because Russia has sent its warships to Red Sea and they started drills there. So my question to you, how does it impact the situation? Is it an asset or it's a problem?
Well, freedom of navigation is freedom of navigation. It's also for Russia. Russia can send their ships. We have rules of engagement. There are a lot of procedures to be followed by the different navies in order to coexist on the same geographical situation.
So I don't see any connection so far. So they are doing their own operations. They are not interfering in ours. And we are providing the freedom of navigation to anybody who asks for it.
From the Associated Press. Just a question, how good is your contact with the Houthis, and is that helping to mitigate any of the things that are going on? And I wonder what impact the attack on the embassy in Damascus might be having on Red Sea traffic. Has that slowed anything down? Has that become a greater concern?
So it concerns me. I don't have any connections with the Houthis because I'm on the level of connections that I'm allowed to have. I don't have any connections with the Houthis directly. So, of course, we are following the overall political situation and all the strategic, let's say, we want to have the strategic awareness of the whole area. We are considering what this might cause, but we are there, vigilant and waiting. We are not attacking them, though we could, let's say, but we have a different mandate. So if you see it on the military perspective, what we are doing is the worst case, let's say. It's the more difficult part. We have to wait all the time, being shot at. So you have to bear that in mind. So we are patient and we are stick to our mandate.
Yes, the Admiral is very clear. They have to wait to be shot in order to react.
Senor Borrell, if you have any contact, direct or indirect, with the Houthi, if not, what is your message today to them?
If not, what?
What is your
what is your message to the Houthis if you are not in contact, direct contact with them?
No, we don't have. We follow the situation in this part of the world. We know that there is a relationship between the different actors in the region, and we have condemned, for example, the attack against the Iranian consulate. We have an executive area which excludes the north of the Muscat and the Arabian Sea and the Gulf. We don't have a direct contact with the Houthis, but we have an embassy in Yemen, and we follow everything that happens in the regions. We want to keep channels of communication open with Iran. We call on Iran to show restraint and to use its influence to avoid escalation, and in particular with relation to the Houthis.
Thank you. And last question goes to Sunila.
But I don't think Iran has a full control on the Houthis' decision making. They have become quite autonomous.
Thank you. I have one question for you.
Is this good? You said that you clarified earlier the Navy mission is not meant to be a response to the situation in Gaza, yet the Houthis have linked both. Do you think that if the war in Gaza ends tomorrow, the attacks will stop? I mean, just to be clear on that, do you think there will be an end to the attacks against ships if tomorrow you find a political solution to the war? And for Rear Admiral, 1 month ago there was a significant escalation in the Red Sea. We had the first fatalities and the last, to my knowledge, and there was also a near-miss incident with a German drone and a US drone, I believe. What's happened since? Because we haven't heard of any significant escalation since. Has there been a better communication? Is this a sign of the success? The fact that we don't hear about what's going on so much, is it a sign of success? What has changed maybe in the last month that you could tell us about? Thank you.
Okay. Following the start of the war in Palestine, the Israel-Hamas war, the Houthis clearly positioned themselves, it's not a secret, as defenders of the Palestinian cause. And this certainly has given them increased popularity in the wide Muslim world. On the 19th of October, they started firing drones against commercial ships which they label linked to Israel interest. They started on the 19th of October saying, I'm going to attack ships related with the Israel interest. Today, however, They attack commercial ships in the Red Sea and the Arabian Sea indiscriminately. Or the link with Israel or American interest, who knows? They are coordinated with Iran. Well, they have a partnership of convenience. But the control of the Houthis' decision-making power is something that we don't know. Certainly the Houthis has been gaining capacity and autonomy, and now 80 attacks has been reported today. In response, since October, there has been 30 military actions carried out by the US or UK. Since February, the Houthis have extended the scope of their attacks. And now they are requiring ships to obtain a permit from what they call their Maritime Affairs Authority before entering Yemeni waters. And they have also announced the expansion of the geographical scope of their attacks to Israeli vessels sailing in the Indian Ocean. Well, certainly for the Houthis there is a relationship between the attacks they are performing and the war in Gaza. From our side, we just want to ensure freedom and security of navigation. And we hope that we could control the situation and this will not expand to a wider geographical zone.
So about the misfortunate incidents that happened previously, so just bear in mind that those ships were not escorted or protected by Aspides, nor by any other ship. So, of course, the incident you mentioned about the FCS Hessen that took place on the 23rd of February was just in the first days of the action, of the operation. The frigate, as you are aware, acted as it's supposed and with the orders in hand. We have a better coordination so far with Operation Prosperity Guardian, and we have a common operational understanding on the whole area. So this is the way in order to deal with any conflict. And that's how we are able to deal with these conditions so far. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This closes our press conference today. Thank you, Rear Admiral. Thank you, High Representative.
Thank you, Admiral.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
I will have to plan a visit to your operational center.
Of course.
Which part of Greece is?
It's central Greece.
Central. You're not even in the coast.
No.
You don't need it.
It's about 2 hours away from Thessaloniki and about 4 hours away from Athens. By car. About 3